Australia's March quarter GDP numbers will be released this morning. Let's bring in our business reporter, Ed Boyd, for all the details. Good morning, Ed. What's the expectation
Morning,
today?
Pete. Expectation today, Pete, is we're going to see some very weak economic growth over the first 3 months of this year. Just yesterday, the latest current account surplus numbers showed that we imported a lot more stuff than we exported in the first quarter. That's built up a big trade deficit. It's expected to shave almost a full % off the annual GDP growth figure. So some of the big bank economists, they're expecting just 0% economic growth in the March quarter. Some others are expecting 0.1% growth, and that would be 0% growth would basically be the weakest growth level since 1991, outside of the pandemic. And on an annualised basis, it would be GDP growth of 1% over that 12-month period, which, would be the lowest level in about 33 years. So we're expecting pretty weak figures this morning, Pete. Obviously, they have implications for the stock market and for interest rates as well.
Okay, significant. This is also potentially significant, Ed. Two major central banks could cut interest rates this week. The ECB and the BOC is a sign that global inflation is starting to normalise, maybe?
Well, it's starting to normalise in other parts of the world. We're still feeling the pressures here from price inflation. Service price inflation is what keeping it high here. But yes, later this week, we're going to have the European Central Bank. They're basically locked in an interest rate cut. And then the Bank of Canada as well over in North America. So it's just a sign that obviously then 2 weeks later, we've got the Bank of England. They're expecting to cut interest rates as well. So there's a lot of central banks now shifting the strategy around monetary policy. They're moving from a hold down to a cut. And we're obviously starting to fall a little bit behind in Australia just with where inflation is. But hopefully we can still see some interest rate cuts here for our economy in the last 1 or 2 months of 2024.
We shall see, Ed. And finally, on Friday, the RBA Deputy Governor, Andrew Hauser, a special guest speaker at the Sky News Economic Outlook event in Sydney. He's expected to speak about the economy and interest rates.
Yep, he's going to have a fireside chat with Ross Greenwood, our business editor, so I'm sure it's going to be a very wide-ranging conversation. But look, a lot of work has gone on behind the scenes to get Andrew to come to this event. It's going to be his first television interview that he's done since joining the Reserve Bank earlier this year, back in February. Remember, he was at the Bank of England for more than 30 years of his career, so I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say about where interest rates in England are going in a couple of weeks, and they're going down, just the comparisons between the economy in Britain and the economy in Australia. So really looking forward to what he has to say. It's going to be a big presentation from the RBA and with Ross as the main host.
All right, Edward Boyd, appreciate that, Ed. We'll talk to you soon.